Are either of you guys even sane? Julia? What are you talking about right now? There's no way I'd be able to live with my mother-in-law. So I think you're going to really regret the choice you've made, Paige. Do you know what I'm talking about? People say that the moment you start to have your parents living with you, it's game over. I'm sure there are plenty of people in this world that don't like to live with their parents or their partner's parents, but I don't really mind the idea of it. And up until now, my mother-in-law has been taking very good care of me and my husband. So as a way of showing our appreciation for her, we're having this new house built for all of us to live in. We're not going to regret any of this. We'll have to see about that. And if you have that kind of money to build a place like that, how about you give us some too? You both just love all your money, so that has to mean you guys are taking in all kinds of money from your jobs, right? How about this? You send me $1,000 every month, please. Stop joking around about that stuff. We already sent you some money last month, so you're fine. And if that wasn't enough for you, then maybe you need to get yourself a financial advisor or something. You actually think that money you sent me was enough? I was wanting you guys to give me close to $2,000, yet all you sent me was $1,000. You'd better thank me for letting you get away with that then. I don't have anything to really say about what happened then, Julia. How about you have a word with my husband since he was in control of the amount of money we gave you? I can go talk with him. My little brother always listens to anything I have to say. By the way, how have things been going with Ben? Huh? Ben? Why are you worried about my little boy right now, Paige? Because the last time I had met with him, he didn't seem to be doing all too well. Have you been making sure to feed him enough? He's a little kid still and has a lot of growing to do, which means he's going to need as much food as you can give to him. Shut up, Paige. He has nothing to do with you. Are you done now? I want that $1,000 into my account by the beginning of next week. Congratulations on getting the brand new house all built. Thank you very much. I had some stuff to talk with my mom about a little bit ago, so I came over to visit. And I have to say, you guys really did have a large and beautiful home built for yourselves. The place is pretty massive, and the kitchen seems to be where you guys spend most of your money on the house. I am very jealous of what you guys made. So why are you wanting to talk with me now? Did you just want to say congrats on us getting our new house? Because I have a pretty good feeling that that's not all you have to say to me today. You seem to know me better than I thought you did. To tell you the truth, when I was over there today having a look around the new house with my mom, I became very jealous of the place. It's not like you and my brother are going to have any kids yet, right? I happen to have Ben right now, and he is still so young and requires a lot of my attention. And having to take care of him in my tiny apartment is way too difficult of a task for me to always manage. So I started to think to myself that we'd come and live at that house. What exactly do you mean by that? I'm telling you to get the hell out of that house. Can't you see that's what I'm saying? I heard from Mom that the owner of that house is my dad, which means that I can have you kicked out of there and that won't be a problem for any of us. There is still the loan on this house, though. If we're to leave this house like you've asked, will you be able to take care of it all by yourself? A loan, huh? I heard that all you have left to pay is another $80. All I have to do is not pay my rent next month and end my time here. And I can use that money to pay the loan off and have enough to get myself some amazing furniture that suits me. Although I'm pretty sure that my mom and dad will pay that $80, so I don't need to worry one bit. Understood then. If that's how confident you really feel about things, then your brother and I will go. I can't believe you're not even trying to fight back. I'll go ahead and let my parents know for you both that I am moving in there with Ben and taking your place. However, it might be better that I say you both left without saying anything to them and come save the day by living with them instead. I'm still with my mom, so I can tell her all about that right now. And once we are out of this house, you have to make sure to pay off the remaining $8,000 of the loan. What? 8,000? I think you added 2 extra zeros there, you idiot. You really think I'd move in there if there was still 8,000 that needed to be paid off? The thing is, though, I'm not mistaken. Oh, come on now, Paige. That is way too high of a number compared to what my mom told me. You can give up trying to shock me into leaving you guys alone now because it's not working on me. I've already told you both to get out of that house, so get whatever things you have to take and leave. Hey, John. Just a second ago, I got a few texts from your sister.
From Julia? And what the heck does she want with us this time? Is this another one of her plans to try and get more money from us or something?
Well, this time it's not about money going to her particularly.
So?
She told me that she'd be moving into the brand new house we just had built and will be coming with Ben. So she's told me that you and I have to leave now.
Really? There's no way my sister is going to be able to pay off the remaining loan on the house. So what does she think she's talking about? Did you tell her how much is remaining to be paid?
I told her the amount, but she didn't believe me. She also said that she's going to tell your parents that we're leaving and that she's going to be moving in with them instead.
I see. So she's still having those same old issues like before. Only thinking about herself in every situation and thinking that things are far better than they really are. And since both my mom and dad are very gullible, they are bound to believe every word that comes out of her mouth.
But that was something that really helped you and I out in the past. It was because your parents are so open to what people say and will listen that they were able to help us out.
I'm aware of that, Paige.
But Julia's already told your mom that we're leaving, most likely.
You don't really have to worry about them. You and I have a life of our own together now, so there are other places we can go live. It's not like I really like the plans that were made for that house anyway. So let's do as Julia has said and get out. I'm sure she'll have a blast not being able to pay off the rest of that loan as well.
All right. When I get home from work today, I'll get my things together and then start to work on yours.
I'll try to get out of work early today and come home to help you as soon as I can. But man, how many times is it going to be for Julia before she realizes that she no longer needs to come and steal our things? Sorry that she's always been such a pain in our asses.
You don't have to apologize about it, since it seems as though you take most of the damage from her. So don't worry about me. This house you guys had built for us is freaking amazing! All of the rooms here are so open, and the bathroom is like something from a resort. This whole house is way better than all the places I've had to live before. Thank you so much for this perfect home. So things are going all right for you there? What? You don't seem to be in too high of spirits right now. Could it be because of all the times I've taken things from you and now you've even lost your brand new home? That's too bad. Because you're not getting anything back from me. My mom and dad haven't said anything outright about this, but I can tell they are far happier having someone in the house who has a kid rather than 2 useless adults. Your mom and dad aren't those kinds of people. Remember that no matter how much you whine about things, you're always going to stay a loser. But there is one thing that you guys have won at, and that's making all that money in order to take care of me. You're both like my ATMs, and my goodness, is it great getting everything I want. Would you cut all that talking out? You know better than anyone else that John and I have been sending you more than you've deserved in money. And you've never even thanked us for any of that, only coming back to ask us for more and more. Both of us have only been sending you the money because we're worried about Ben, but we will not sit around and do everything you say anymore. Do you even know how much money the two of us have sent you thus far? I've never even bothered to care about the combined amount of money you both send me. It's been about $20,000 now, all right? Do you seriously just think of us two as your ATMs? Well, if you're not my ATMs, then I guess I think of both of you as servants, or even my slaves. Anyway, I have the perfect way of describing you both, and that is as my right and left legs. So you feel as though you're royalty or something? Understood. I was thinking of still sending you guys some money from now on, since you have your mom and dad living with you as well now. But that's not happening after hearing how you think of us. We don't need any of your money. All we have to pay off is another $80, and then this house is ours for good. Easy. You think so? Then I'm really looking forward to hearing about next month from you. Stop acting like such a sore loser, please. Hey, you! You both set me up or something. I just got a notice in the mail for a foreclosure. What the hell is happening over here? I already went to Dad and handed him the $80 that he needed for the rest of the house, but things felt off between him and I. So I then went and had a look at his bank account to see why he was so upset, and there I saw that all the previous payments on the house were made by you, sending him $7,920? I didn't know that there was still another $8,000 that needed to be paid. I'm going to sue both of you for scamming me. Are you having trouble understanding things there? I already told you the correct amount a little over a month ago of how much still needed to be paid. Yet for some reason you just led yourself to keep believing that all you had to pay was $80 and not a single cent more. So that is all on you for misunderstanding. I never misunderstood anything. I was told by Mom and Dad that they were paying $80 a month for the past few years now while that house was being built. They weren't lying. John and I told them all they had to pay us was $80 a month and that we'd be handling the rest. Huh? We were finally being able to build and live in our own house. And that even gave John and I the chance to design how we wanted some of the interior to be, although your parents both had a say in some of it as well. Your mom even told us to get whatever furniture and appliances we wanted in the house, and so that's what we did. How does that have anything to do with me right now? We were given the chance to do pretty much whatever we wanted with the house and the furnishings, so as a way of saying thank you, we only asked that your parents pay $80 a month. Originally, that house was made for your mom and dad to be living in, so we didn't want them paying a dime for it. But no matter how many times we told them they didn't have to help pay, they kept on pushing. So we settled on them giving us $80 a month to go towards paying off the loan. I don't think either of them ever said that the remaining value that needed to be paid off was $80. What was that? By the way, why would we ever leave $80 remaining that needed to be paid off for the following month? If we had really been in such financial trouble to where we couldn't just pay that little bit extra off last month, then we wouldn't have had that house built in the first place. But what you're saying is that you've had to pay $8,000 a month on that place? We thought it would be best to pay off that loan as soon as we could. Both John and I know a thing or two about paying off large loans, and it's best to take care of them before too much time goes by. So don't you start complaining to us about how much we've been paying. If something like that was really a thing, then you should have told me that before. You both really did set me up to fail here. As a way of getting a settlement from you, I want you to pay off the rest of this loan. I really have no idea what you're talking about. Why would we ever pay off the rest of a loan on a house we're not even living in? You think that you can really say something like that? If we end up having to lose this house to the bank, then your favorite mother and father-in-law will both be forced to go and live on the streets. If they really do have to leave that house, then we'll just have them come and live with us at our new house. Huh? John and I bought ourselves a condo a while back as a minor investment. The last person who we were renting it out to had moved out, so there was nobody in it, which made it the perfect place for us to move into. You think you can just start acting all high and mighty now just because you had one backup plan that worked out for you? Did you get that condo out of spite because the rest of us have no money? Do you really think John and I are that pathetic? Anyway, we're not going to help you pay off the loan on a place in which neither of us are currently living. You figure out how to pay off the remaining $7,920 by yourself now. You scammers! John! Whatever happened to you putting a damn leash on your wife? Go and take care of her right now for what she's been doing. She needs to be taught a lesson for fighting back against me.
Don't talk about my wife like that.
I was thinking that Paige was a lot weaker than you in terms of your spirit and would be able to manage her myself. But I can't take her anymore, so I'll have to talk with you now. From now on, I want you to pay off that remaining $8,000.
But aren't you to blame for all that's happened here in the first place, Julia?
And what do you think you're doing talking back to me like that?
Would you just shut the hell up for 2 seconds and listen? For the longest time now, I've had to struggle through all the BS you've brought into this family and into my life. You are too old now to still be acting like a child, so cut it out.
What do you mean, cut it out? Everyone in this world knows that when it comes to an older sister and a younger brother, the younger brother's things always belong to his older sister.
Well, I don't know about that, and everyone I know doesn't know a thing like that either. I am not your servant, nor am I your underling. Yet somehow, no matter how hard I tried to stay out of all your trouble, you would come and fight me for not listening to you. And that's not the only thing you'd do. There are so many things of mine that you've stolen from Paige and I. You've took things like stationery goods from me back in school. And then you started to take money from Paige and I, and then clothing from her. You've even taken things like my debit and credit cards to either take out money yourself or buy things on my card. Because of all that continuing to happen over and over again, all my life, I have come to always think that when something of mine goes missing, it's because you've come and stole it from me. And any time I tried to tell Mom about it, you'd throw an even worse fit. Every time I think back on the days before I was able to leave the house and had to always deal with you on my own, I want to vomit.
What the heck? Are you upset about me wanting all kinds of things from you? Had you just been nice and given me those things I asked for, I would have never had to steal anything from you.
You said that in the past to me as well, and that was all one massive lie. When I started to give you money each month so that you'd stop bothering me all the time, you would still come over and take money from my wallet or Paige's purse. I have been at my limits with you for a while now, Julia. And what you've done this last time has set me over the edge. So I'm going to have a word with Mom and Dad about all you've been doing. I've heard that you lied to them already about why we both ended up leaving that house.
You are not some child anymore, so you shouldn't be getting so ticked off by things like lies anymore. Hell, I'm not going to get upset with you right now over you back-talking me like that. Go ahead and tell them what you have to say about me.
I see. If you really don't mind what all I plan to do, then I'll stop caring about what this will all do to you. I just talked with Dad a second ago, and he said that him and Mom will be cutting ties to you now. But there's no problem with that, right? After all, you did just say that you don't mind what I do.
What? You're joking with me about that, right?
Why would I be lying to you about things now? Dad just said to me that by next week, you need to be out of that house. So I hope you know some good connections for housing, because you need to start looking now.
Hold on a second. I still have Ben living over at this house. He's not even in elementary school yet, and you're going to have us kicked out now?
Hold on. Dad never said anything about Ben being kicked out of that house. Just you. Paige and I will be taking care of Ben from now on.
Are you freaking kidding me? You can't just steal my little boy from me.
Who the hell do you think is really kidding around right now? You have a freaking toddler, yet you continue to act like more of a child than him by doing the most stupid things. I think today you're going to hear some things from Mom and Dad that you're not going to like at all. Go and get your things together, because I'm guessing they will want you out of that house sooner rather than later.
Crap. You are all so freaking useless to me. All of this is your freaking fault. You lied to us all now, haven't you? Both of my parents are going to be cutting ties to me, and they will be taking my little boy away from me. I will have nothing now because of you. You're a monster in human form. If this all ends up ruining my life, I'm going to come for you and make sure your life becomes just as screwed up as mine. And if I end up dying because of all this, then I'm going to write down in my final note to everyone that it was you and John that got me killed. You can go ahead and write that note, but I'm not too sure who all is going to be trusting what you say after you're gone. By the way, things have come all this way, and yet you keep saying that this is all my fault and that you hate me. Is there not a feeling of sorrow for what you've done inside that very small and corrupted heart of yours? Not even an atom of sorrow. And that's because I did nothing wrong here. All I was doing was telling you guys that my things were in fact mine. How was me taking ownership of what was all mine a problem for anyone? Nothing was wrong with that. That house was mostly paid for and constructed with the hopes that John and myself, along with your mom and dad, would be able to move into there and live happy lives together. There was not a single thing about that house that had anything to do with you guys. And what I'm saying is that your guys' things are my things. What about that do you not understand? Would you stop talking about how our things are all yours? Do you have any freaking idea how much money we already have given to you and how much we had to put into that house? At first you were saying you'd at least pay us back someday, yet it's been so many years now and there hasn't been a single penny from you yet. And things only become worse after you heard about John and I starting up a decent business together. You would ask for more and more from us and we'd give it to you because we thought you were at least putting it towards food and Ben, but no. You'd been using all that money to gamble, and you would gamble to your heart's content with that money. And from what else I've heard, you were kicked out of your last apartment because you didn't have the money to pay rent anymore. And that was your 6th month in a row of not paying. That's why you came and took our house from us that we had only just moved into. And since then, you've just been going on and on about how you think you deserve everything and that you've been played by John and I. That's all been the last straw for me. At least your mom and dad still care about us and have been trying to help however they can. So would you please just screw off already, because we are trying to enjoy our own lives here. Don't start talking trash about me over there. All I've been doing is living my life, doing the things I have the right to do. Oh, whatever. I'm done talking with you about that. All I have to tell you about is that once we get a hold of Ben, John and I are planning on adopting him. Huh? Why do you think you both can do that? We haven't been able to see him for a month now, and so I've been worried out of my mind about how he's doing. Julia, you've been abusing your son, haven't you? What did you just say to me? Don't even think that playing stupid right now is going to save you. There's already evidence pointing to you abusing your son, so it's over. Your mom even went and took Ben to the doctors when you weren't watching and got a full medical examination done on him. she had him get examined? Now, why would she go all the way out of her way to do that? I get that the kid gets himself into trouble a lot and ends up hurt because of it, but that's just the kind of kid that he is. He has so much energy that he can't control himself sometimes and will run into furniture and the wall sometimes. So don't you dare start saying that I'm abusing him, because I would never do that to a little kid. The doctor told your mom that the injuries he had, like the bruising and such, couldn't have come from just running into things. So stop it with the petty excuses and confess. We know about all the scars he has under his clothing that most people can't normally see. And that's exactly what you've been wanting, right? For none of us to see what you've been doing to him. You are screwed in the head, you monster! You're going to prison for what you've done. Huh? And what makes you think that I'll have to go to prison? Also, Mom had been listening to you guys. She could hear on some nights Ben crying a lot more loudly and with a lot more pain in his voice than normal. You've all been living together, so she could hear all his screams better than anyone else. I hope you're ready for what comes next, you bitch. You're going to court, and then you're going to prison. You're going to take me to court? What? For what? For abusing your child. What else would we be taking you there for? We have all the evidence we need of it, and our lawyers have even stated that it will be near impossible for you to get out of this one. And just to let you know, unlike all the baseless threats you make, this one is very much real. No way, stop all of that. If you really do end up getting the police involved, I'm going to be put away forever. Then what's going to happen to my life? I'll end up dying there. Please do not take me to court and do not tell the police about any of this. I'm not going to stop. We need to make sure monsters like you are put in your cages and placed far away from the rest of us who are just trying to be happy. Paige, please. I will do whatever you ask me to, so please just don't take me to court over this. If I'm taken to court and then sent to prison, that would mean there's a felon in this family, right? You wouldn't want to be related to someone like that, right? So please. I'm cutting ties to you, so I don't care that you get sent to prison. Now it's only going to be a matter of time before the police arrive there to place you under arrest. So get all your things packed up, please, in order to make it easier for the rest of us to pick them up and toss them in the dumpster. Paige! Just a minute ago, I got a call from your mom saying that the police came and arrested your sister.
Is that right? I guess I can let out a small sigh of relief now.
I think tomorrow we should go out with our lawyer and start doing the necessary paperwork to take custody of Ben.
Good idea. I'll give the lawyer a call and get to work on setting the date up at the courthouse.
I know that there have been plenty of times before that we've seen your sister lose her mind and doing the most ridiculous things. But this time, learning about what she's been doing with our money and then with Ben, I can't believe she's gotten this bad, which only goes to show there was never any helping her. John, I'm sure you're relieved to see her go.
This time, even my parents were able to see just how rotten she is at her roots, which means my whole family will now be cutting ties to her, thankfully.
And I'm sure both of your parents, as well as Ben, will be happy to have her out of their lives now for good. I think her arrest is the best thing that's happened in a long, long time.
Make sure to talk with my parents about all of that later. I'm sure they will be happy to hear just how horrible of a person my sister really is.
That's a good point. I guess before we move back to that house, I'll let your parents know everything. John and his family, along with myself, all collected a lot of evidence of the child abuse that Julia's been doing and took her to court over what we'd found with the help of 3 lawyers. And once the case had been finished and there was nothing that Julia could say against the evidence, she was booked at the state penitentiary and will be there for 35 years. We were also able to get $20,000 from her for all the things she had stolen from us. And since we had an IOU of all the money we lent her, which she signed, we got all that money back as well. We also found out that she had borrowed money from plenty of other people and places too, which meant she was in some extreme debt. Of course, after paying John and I the money we'd been able to ask her for, she had nothing else and was taken away to enjoy the next 35 years of her life in a dark and cold cell. And if she's able to make it out of that prison in 35 years, she's still going to have to deal with that debt. So I think we can all agree that her life of freedom and happiness is over with. As for my husband and I, we've been getting our lives back on track, and so far things have been going just fine. Originally, John and I had not been having any luck in making a baby of our own, so by having Ben in our care now, it's like I got to skip the pain of childbirth and have gone straight to the fun part of raising a child. Recently, Ben has started to tell me that he would like a sister, but that might have to wait a year or so, until John and I have figured things out. I know that kids will always say what's on their mind, even if they don't really mean it, but Ben might be onto something when he says he wants another kid to play with at home. At the very least, if things don't work out for John and I naturally, we can always adopt another baby, but then we might call it a day there. Krista, why are you not willing to take this old bag in for us? We only just got married over here, right? Don't you think it's better if you take her and look after her instead of the two of us newlyweds?
Betty, it's been a while. When you said old bag, were you actually referring to my mom?
Who else would I be giving that well-deserved title to? I want you to take over handling this stingy and annoying old freak for us.
Could you stop it with all that horrible name-calling, please? She is my mom, okay?
I could care less about that, Christina. I'm only calling her by who she really is, right? A moneyless old bag. If you don't come over here to get her real soon, I'll have to kick her out of our house.
Betty, are you aware that it is my mom who has been asking to come and live with my older brother? And it's not just her that wants it, but my older brother as well. So you talking about her in that way seems to be you not showing any respect for our family. Is that right? Calling her things like annoying and poor are sorts of things that will make her really upset and might push her to becoming more distant from you.
I'm sure you just want to think of her in the nicest possible way because she was the only person that parented you. But to me, someone who was raised in a family with loads of money, all I can think of her as is a moneyless bag. I feel bad for the poor broad, but having to put up with her is driving me nuts.
You actually feel bad for her? From the way you keep talking about her, I'm not seeing any part of you that actually cares enough about her to be saying such things. It's making me sad to hear all this from you. What about my mom has made you so upset with her that you'd say such rude things?
That old bag is terrible at cooking decent meals for us.
What?
The only thing she can make well is bad food. And when it comes to the clothing she wears, it all looks like secondhand clothing bought at some Salvation Army. Just looking at her style makes me want to vomit.
You're making my mom cook while she's over there? Are you kidding me?
What are you trying to get at? Of course she is. We are the ones allowing her to live here with us, so the least she can do is cook.
No, I feel that if anything, you should be the one cooking for her.
And just be aware that I know about how your whole family has zero spending money because you all had to be raised by a single mother. I feel that just because you don't have the money to support her poor butt, you shouldn't be forcing someone like myself and your older brother to. Especially when just a bit ago, Zach was able to get into a great company. If we didn't have this old worthless bag over here, then we'd have enough money to do all sorts of things we want.
If you have the time to talk trash about my mom behind her back, then how about you go talk to my brother about her instead of me?
Huh? What are you saying? Right now, Zach and I are doing so well together. I have no need for you to tell me how to work my relationship with him.
Well, I'm not trying to control what you both do in your relationship, and if you really are doing well together, that's good to hear. But the way you're talking about my mom right now is not acceptable. You sitting there texting me all these complaints you have about her is not acceptable either, and I will not let you say anything more to me. If you really don't want my mom living over there with you guys anymore, then go tell that to my brother's face, please. Tell me, why are you not able to do that if things between you two are going so well?
Right now, Zach is really happy, believing that I'm great taking care of his mom for him. He buys me all sorts of brand bags and things like that to repay me for it. That's why I'm asking you to take care of this old bag for me. If he were to find out something like me kicking her out, then this whole awesome relationship we have would fall apart.
So this all has to do with you getting the things you want without having to make any sacrifices, huh? Understood. But this is not something I can do anything about. If you really want her to stop living there with you, go talk to your husband about it. And actually, you should really be talking with my mom about this so you can understand her side of the story. I think that she can explain to you that she's not the kind of person you think she is.
I don't get what you're on about. If you don't let me continue having a great relationship with your brother, I'm going to make both you and your mother pay for it.
And if you think that's such a good idea, then I'll make sure you pay for your actions tenfold. Goodbye now.
Krista, that hurricane today was insane, right? There was something funny about it all, though. Would you like to hear about it?
Something funny about it? Well, I'm sure whatever this something may be, it won't come without a price, right?
In the middle of the night, while the hurricane was raging, I sent that moneyless old hag outside. And now this place is all mine. That's why I said before that you should have hurried up and came and gotten that grandma. I wonder how things are going for her now.
You are the worst. That house is supposed to be like a home to my mom. But you took it from her without even asking.
I'm telling you right now that you need to take care of that moneyless old bag, all right? You and her can get along, both agreeing on things like not having any money or time to have fun.
I can see you're having a ball saying all that stuff about her. But if my brother were to find out about this, what do you think might happen?
You go ahead and let him know what happened, all right? Tell him that it wasn't my fault and that your mom chose to leave the house all by herself in the middle of the night. Make sure you tell her exactly what I said, word for word. You wouldn't want to ruin the most amazing relationship your older brother has with me, right? We have no need for someone in this house who doesn't have any money to share. I wanted this house for myself, so I tossed your mom out into the hurricane to find her way somewhere else.
If you're talking about my mom as though she's lost out there, you have it all wrong. She's with my brother and I at her condo.
What?
You are really the most stupid woman in Florida.
What do you mean by that? What's going on here? What condo are you talking about?
My mom happens to have a condo that she frequents every so often. And soon Zach will be coming back here as well.
Huh? A condo? I don't get it. Have you completely lost your mind now, too?
Ah, that's right. You probably never knew about the condo she holds on to, right? Well, it so happens that my mom has a lot of properties that you probably know nothing about. And to be honest, she's come from a life of fortune that probably even you could never fathom. That's how rich my mom is.
What? She has a lot of properties. What? I have no idea what you're trying to talk to me about right now.
I'm sure you don't, and I'm sorry about that. Lowlifes like you wouldn't have the mental capacity to understand what it's like being rich, right? I'm sure this is all a bit too difficult for you. Well, you not being able to understand what it's like to have money is none of my problem.
Wait, can you please explain this in a way I can understand? Tell me what the hell has happened.
My mom was only living in that house with you two because she wanted to live with my brother. But she was kicked out of that house last night, and so she invited me to come out and live with her for a while at her condo.
I never heard about her owning any condos.
And I can see that now. But we never told you about them in the first place. We didn't want you getting all nervous about my mom having all that money and all her properties. So we decided to make things more comfortable for you by not saying anything about it. We just wanted to make it seem simple, and that's why we said my brother wanted her to come live with them, and she wanted to live with him as well. And she was hoping to have a close relationship with you as well there. But instead, it turns out that you're a terrible person, and because of that, you made yourself look bad in front of her. All she was trying to do was make things less complicated for you. Yet you took all that the wrong way and forced her out.
Make things less complicated for me? What does that even mean?
You can think about that one yourself. But in the end, you kicked her out of the house in the middle of a hurricane. And I went there to get her with my car, and we both went back to her condo and are having a party right now to celebrate being free from you. All our family and friends are here too, having a wonderful time, so please don't come over ruining it for us. And you don't have to worry about her anymore, because she's already made it clear to us that she'll never live around you again.
What the heck? Are you for real? Your mom had a condo and you're all partying right now? This all makes zero sense to me, but you're telling me that an old hag like her that buys clothing from a secondhand store has all that?
She was only wearing that clothing to make you feel better around her. You really should be thankful that she did that for you.
So you're telling me that your mom really has a lot of money, right? Yet she just acted like she was poor while she lived with us?
It's not like she was trying to lie to you or anything. She just didn't want to stress you with thinking that she required more from you than you could give.
Are you trying to say that I'm poor or something?
I'm not trying to say it all that straight, but well, if you compare your life with the one my mom lives, you are pretty poor. But even after my mom tried to be nice to you by not acting all rich and snobby, you still acted out and treated her like she was the poor one, which we all understand very well now.
Huh? No. Wait a second. If you're really telling the truth about her having lots of money, then this is a totally different story. I didn't know at the time that she had all that money and all those properties under her name. I was just being fair with her by saying that she was a poor old bag because of the way she dressed and acted.
And that right there was way too thoughtless of you. Her being poor and without a lot of money didn't have anything to do with you being her daughter-in-law. She just wanted things to be about being a family, and that's it. She really wanted to become good family with you, and that was her only goal. However, instead of becoming friends with you, all she received was earfuls of you calling her horrible things all the time.
Wait, that wasn't what I had planned on doing.
Well, at this point, we are all aware that you're not the kind of person who is willing to be open-minded towards others. And since my mom is the most aware of that, she no longer needs to be around you. So with all that being said, we'd like you out of that house.
Huh? Why would I be the one to leave this house now? This is supposed to be our house.
Come on! You understand by now that you have no right to that house now, right? My brother will most likely be talking to you about this later, but that house is under my mom's name.
Huh? Are you sure?
So you really didn't know about that either then. My mom didn't want to say anything to you because all you do is talk trash about her. Either way, my mom was letting the two of you live in that house as a present from her for your wedding.
Huh? I didn't know anything about that either. I just assumed that Zach had bought this place with his own money.
My brother only just got his first job working full-time. So do you really think he'd have the ability to afford a place like that? I'm just saying that place is not yours to live in, and so my mom will have you kicked out of there very soon if you don't leave willingly. She had hopes of one day giving that place to you guys and having her name removed, but I don't think she will be doing that for either of you guys now.
She won't give us this house? Huh?
She's telling me that as long as you're with my brother, she's not even going to continue to help him with the loan.
Huh? Loan?
Well, like I said, my brother only just started his first full-time job, and so he doesn't have the income to get his own loan yet. So in order to help him have a house for the two of you, or I suppose 3 of you could live in, she got a loan and helps him pay it off with some of her wealth.
I didn't even know about that part. What does all of this mean then? Are you trying to say that he doesn't have the income right now to afford the place?
Well, like I've said, he's very fresh to this world of business and working. You really had no clue about anything regarding him, huh? Honestly, I'm sure you were told all of this before, but you didn't want to understand it, so you just ended up ignoring him, right?
If his mom ends up stopping the help with that loan, what'll happen to us?
Well, you both will no longer be able to pay it off in time, and things will begin to fall apart there, right? She really tried her best to give Zach everything as well. But it's all because of his own wife that your lives will fall apart.
Krista? This time was a little... Well, this time I was just a little confused about things, and I'm sorry if that hurts you in any way. But right now, I understand everything completely, all right? So can we get back to becoming a happy family together again, right?
Get back to?
Can you tell your mom that she's allowed to come back home to our house now? Actually, let her know that I'll be coming to her condo. I think I should get some things together now to spend the night there, right? I'm sure you're all fine now with me coming to that party, right?
Really? Nice joke, Betty. You almost had me believing all of that as well for a bit.
Huh? Why are you saying that?
It's a little too late for you to act all happy and upbeat about what's happened. Mom has already told us she no longer wants to have any ties to you. And I thought that was implied by everything I was telling you this whole time. There is no longer going to be a day where she wants to be in your company. Honestly, you'll never even be hearing from her again, Betty.
What? Hold on, okay? So, does this really mean I'm going to have to leave this house? If I get tossed out of here, I'll be in real trouble. And if she were to cause some kind of trouble for Zach, do you know what that might do to our marriage?
That's not something I care about. This is all because of the way you treated my mom, right? To break it to you in the most straight way possible, the way you've acted has made an enemy of my mom. And I had warned you of that sooner, right? I asked that you no longer talk poorly of my mom and maybe go chat with her about all your complaints.
Then you should have just told me about all of this instead of letting me continue.
Huh? I'm not your freaking parent.
But you could have at least told me she was loaded, and then none of this would have happened. I would have never said anything bad about her after that, and we could all be living our dreams right now.
The fact that you only change your attitude from good to bad based on someone else's money shows me that you're just the scummiest person on the planet. You think I want you to be around my mom when you're that kind of monster?
Krista, this is getting really bad. I'm getting call after call from Zach right now. Does he already know about what happened to your mom?
Well, he just arrived a couple of minutes ago and my mom explained everything to him. He became very, very red in the face and then stormed upstairs saying he'd give you a call.
You're lying, right? That means I'm completely screwed now.
Exactly. You always liked making everyone else have to deal with your crap. But it seems this time all that crap is coming for you. Well, that's all I have to say about things. You are done for, Betty. Now, I'd answer the next call from him if I were you. The woman that you kept calling a moneyless old bag? Well, that's going to be you in the next 10 years or so. You idiot! In the end, Zach found out all about the things that Betty had been up to and told her that he wanted a divorce. He also told her that his mom would have the house sold back to the bank and that they'd all be moving out, so she had no choice but to leave. Betty tried going to her mother-in-law about all of this and begged for forgiveness, but everyone in the family had had enough of her and ignored all her pleas. Betty ended up kicked out of the house by the bank and was not able to go back home to her parents, which cut ties to her, leaving her to live life on the road. Had she only been a bit nicer to those she knew little about, she'd be having the time of her life living with enough money to keep her entertained. Even Krista's mom was thinking so much about becoming close to her daughter-in-law that she was getting ready to give them one of her condos as a place to spend their time off. But that idea was quickly crushed by Betty being such a miserable person. I guess it's a good thing this all happened to my mom, because we learned far sooner that Betty was nothing more than a self-centered child deep inside, and that a condo wouldn't fit that kind of personality. Now, Betty is stuck working as a factory worker, breaking down tuna and canning them, all for minimum wage at around 60 hours per week. She does this from sunrise to sunset, all while thinking about how badly she screwed up by acting like a complete child to her in-laws. I'm sure it's really tough for her now, but this is what she deserves to help her realize to be nice to strangers. As for the rest of the family, they have all gone back to living their lives as normal. Krista is back at her place getting back to work and living her life as she always has, and Zach has gone back with his mom to her condo with all his and her things to live there for a while until he has enough money saved up for his own house. I feel bad that this all happened to Zach, really, as he didn't do anything wrong to deserve losing the gift that his mother gave him. But I'm sure that somewhere down the line she'll be willing to help him again with another gift.